Hey, what's up, guys? Leo here. So I want to talk about how I think that Ethereum can become the de facto world reserve currency. I know that a lot of people are really popular with talking about how Bitcoin, they're going to do the strategic reserve, etc. and whatnot, and they're supposed to buy, I think it's 250,000 Bitcoin a year for, I think it's the next 4 years or something like that. But I think that Ethereum's path is a little bit different. If we come over here to, I don't know if I'm saying this right, but Salsal, you can see that he mentions all these companies, right? So he's got BlackRock, Franklin Templeton, PayPal, Robinhood, Visa. I mean, they do, I can't even get away from doing a single Visa transaction on a daily basis. So you have all these major companies that are building on Ethereum, right? They're building a new financial system. Each one of these companies is going to build out their own ecosystem for Ethereum, and they're going to onboard hundreds of millions of users pretty much overnight. And so I think that Ethereum will become the de facto world reserve currency more so than Bitcoin for this simple fact, not because the government is going to start to buy a lot of Ethereum, but because of what BlackRock has started. BlackRock has started to tokenize assets. They're starting with treasury bills, right? Or treasuries. So going from there, if you have, I don't know, $1 trillion, $10 trillion, $50 trillion worth of assets that are tokenized and secured onto the blockchain, then Ethereum becomes a global reserve asset by default because of all the value, all the real world assets that it's securing. Traditional reserve assets are going to be things like foreign currencies, forex exchange, gold. You have the strategic oil reserve. Now, not traditionally considered a reserve asset, but it is a type of asset that the countries like the United States have a global reserve, or not a global reserve, a strategic reserve of oil that they hold for essentially wartime. It's a wartime reserve. And essentially what we have is the petrodollar, right? So we do so much trade around the world with oil, and the US dollar is primarily what oil is traded in. That's how you kind of get this petrodollar dynamic. Now imagine a world where you have trillions upon trillions. Like I've said before, global assets, it's something like $1.4 quadrillion. It's just an unimaginably big number. But if you get half of that tokenized, or even like a 10% of it for tokenized and put onto Ethereum, then what ends up happening is you almost get this dynamic where you have instead of a petrodollar, you get an EtherDollar, right? Because you have so much assets, so much value being secured by the Ethereum blockchain, it becomes a reserve asset by default. I mean, you can't get around it. Imagine you have all this world's value being secured by a blockchain. I mean, how do you not make that a world reserve asset? It's not like it can just evaporate overnight. It becomes part of our daily lives, just the same way that oil is. I mean, if let's say that tomorrow oil went poof, gone, right? The world would stop, right? So in the future, whenever Ethereum has all these tokens backed on it, and this is just tokenization, I'm not even talking about the applications that are going to be built on it. That's an entirely another sector. If you have entire digital ecosystems that are being run off of Ethereum, that asset cannot just disappear overnight. It has to maintain value. It has to be able to secure all of these applications, all of these world's assets. So real quick, for people that don't know what tokenization is, because you might be hearing this for the first time, essentially what you do is you take a ownership rights. So take your car title, for example. You take that and you essentially scan it and you put it onto a blockchain, right? And so what that does is it eliminates the possibility for fraud. Because let's say that you meet somebody on Craigslist, right? And you don't know whether the person actually owns that car, right? And not until you go down to the title office and you try to transfer the title over, you sign your bill of sales and they could give you a fake a title. You just don't know. So what tokenization does is, as soon as the funds are transferred, the title is transferred instantly, right? So through smart contracts and tokenization, you eliminate the possibility of fraud and you increase efficiencies within the market. So, I mean, you're talking, it's just an unthinkably big market that Ethereum is going after. No, I don't think that this is going to happen in completely overnight. I think that it's going to be phased in. So for example, one day you wake up and, BlackRock announces that they've begun tokenizing your 401k, right? So it's going to be like slowly products we're going to see that these companies are building. They're going to slowly start getting released, and before you know it, it's going to feel like you blink and then everything is on the blockchain. And a lot of times you're not even going to notice it. So take for example, banking, right? So let's say you take a bank account and they tokenize it, right? And so now in your Chase bank account, instead of it being, what was it? Just digital numbers on a screen, right? It's going to be based on stable coins. So you're going to have a checking account that's got full of stable coins, essentially. It's going to look just like your regular checking account, but it's going to be much more efficient. I'll give you a perfect real world example. So I just sent my mom $1,000 and I tried doing it through Venmo and it got frozen for some reason. The money was stuck in pending for like 4 or 5 days. And, it's kind of a tough situation because the money's stuck. What are you going to do? If that is on the blockchain and a transaction fails or it can't get verified, it's instant. You're talking a few seconds and it's rejected and the money's back in your account from the pending transaction state and it's done and you can just try again. So that's just one area of efficiencies that this is going to create. So if there's a future where, like I said, all of the digital economy is functioning and running off of the Ethereum blockchain and its layer 2s, because like I mentioned in the other video, I think that these companies are going to build layer 2s and they're going to build their own digital ecosystems on top of those layer 2s. So if the whole world is running on Ethereum, it's impossible for it to not be a world reserve asset. But that's just my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you think I'm right? Do you think I'm stupid? No, just let me know what you think. All right, until next time, take care.